Lanny had excused from the deposition. Lanny had excused from the deposition because me. Lanny had excused from the deposition because Medina was a witness that Lanny wanted to depose in the future with regard to his statements about the Green Wall and the changes that Caden and the Marquis had made at the prison. Lanny asked Lamarcky, "Are you on any medication now that will impair your ability to provide your best testimony today?" Lamarcky replied, "I am on medication, but I don't know what the effects are." "Well, let's go through. What medications are you taking currently?" Painkillers. I'm trying to remember the name. I can't remember the name right now." "Did you take one in the past 12 hours?" "Yes, numerous." "And the painkiller is for what condition?" "For pain, back pain. I had surgery in late January, I believe." "Obviously, you have the back pain, but does that back pain or any other condition you have impair your ability to provide your best testimony today?" "No." "Did you ever discuss the Green Wall with Did you ever discuss the Green Wall with Bill Duncan?" "Possibility. I'm not really sure. At some, in his capacity as the chief deputy, as the chief director, as possibility. I'm not really sure. At some, in his capacity as the chief deputy, as the deputy director, but I can't recall." "What is the Green Wall?" Lanny asked. "From what I gathered, the Green Wall is like a college frat group, I guess, or something like that." "Oh, come on, Tony. College frat, my ass. Just admit that they work for you and you tell them what to do. And you are all aware that Hickman, Secretary of Corrections, responded, 'I think we have a small minority of people in this agency that have banded together to conceal or attempted to conceal mistakes or acts of misconduct.'" And that was Hickman's response to the question, "Is there a green wall, code of silence, in this agency?" Have you ever heard that statement from Hickman? Lamarcky replied, "No. I don't know if I can answer that question. I can't. I don't have an opinion of it. I don't know." "Of course, Tony, you don't remember something that involves you. You would be incriminating yourself." "Did you ever have any discussions with Greg Lewis about the Green Wall?" "Yes." "How many discussions had you had with Greg Lewis?" "I can't recall." "Can you give me an estimate? 4 or 5, maybe 6? Now, the 1 or 2 phone calls or telephonic discussions that you had with him, was it you and, I guess it's now Captain Lewis, discussed about the Green Wall? Were there any discussions about staff misconduct?" "I believe it dealt with some misconduct, I believe." "In those telephonic discussions that you had with Greg Lewis about the Green Wall, did Greg Lewis express any concern to you that members of the ISU were associated with the Green Wall?" "Yes." Lanny asked, "Did you ever discuss the Inspector General's report about the Green Wall with Ed Almeida, former Director of Corrections?" Lamarcky replied, "I can't recall." "Did you ever see the Inspector General's report regarding the Green Wall?" "Yes, somebody showed it to me. I don't remember." "Did you have any discussion with the person as to the IG report?" Lamarcky answered, "I don't recall what we talked about, but I'm pretty sure we discussed it." "Do you agree with the statement that, quote, according to Salinas Valley State Prison managers, the warden maintained a relationship with several of the officers assigned to the Investigative Services Unit Security Squad that differed from his relationship with other members of the staff, and that may have influenced his actions in relation to those officers?" "I disagree, because I had a good relationship with all my staff." I shook my head. "Bullshit. Then how come the OIG has documented evidence saying otherwise, that you knew of the Green Wall, and you sure didn't have a good relationship with me, and the relationship was the same for all staff? Is that what you're saying?" "Yes." Lanny then asked, "Okay, the next sentence. The warden kept the employees relations officer and the other managers out of the loop regarding misconduct investigations and disciplinary issues involving certain members of the Investigative Services Unit Security Squad. Do you disagree with that? Yes. And why is that? Because the people that needed to be involved were involved and were made aware of whatever situation they had to be made aware of. So it is your testimony that you kept the ERO, Employees Relations Officer, and other managers in the loop regarding misconduct investigations and disciplinary issues. Staff that needed to be aware during the time of an investigation is made aware, and managers that were involved were made aware of what was going on, Lamarcky responded sharply. Did you act on Greg Lewis's report that ISU officers might be involved in the Green Wall? Yes. Did Greg Lewis ever report to you or request that you put these officers on temporary reassignment? Greg Lewis did ask me to remove some of the officers from the unit. Did you remove the officers? When he asked me, yes. They were moved at a later time. Do you recall there being or you being made aware of the introduction of a green-handled buck knife with an engraving of 723? As of today, yes. I was made aware of the knife being brought in as a gift, yes. Other than the discussion you've talked about already, this brief one in your office, did you ever tell Caden that you knew that there were 8 boxes of investigative materials at Salinas Valley State Prison, but you never read them? I told him that I have not read any of the files. But you never said, I'm sorry. What files are you referring to? Lamarcky stated, the files in question that we're talking about. When you said, have you ever read the investigative files? I said no. And these are the investigative files regarding the Green Wall, correct? Was there a reason you never read them? Lanny asked. Yes, the department was doing it and they told me, stay out of it. They will handle it. So I just let them do it. Who at the department told you to stay out of it? Lamarcky said, I can't recall who was in charge at the time, but I was told to stay out of it and just let the department handle all the aspects of that. Now, as the warden, you do have responsibility for the security squad. Yes, the whole prison. But the squad, investigative services unit, falls under me, yes. So, are you responsible for the assignment of officers to the unit and then the removal of officers from the unit? Yes, in a way. Do you recall asking Donahue what happened at the meeting between Miles Moore and Steve Archibald? Good possibility. Do you recall asking Craig Donahue whether Miles Moore had showed Vodka's September 17th memo to Archibald? I believe so. Suddenly, the Deputy Attorney General asked if she could take a brief break to have a quick talk with the next witness. Oh, of course you do. Here we go again. When she returned back into the room, she stated, it has been brought to my attention during the break, I should say, that there is a reporter waiting outside to take Mr. Lamarcky's picture. I'd like to take a break in the deposition to ask the hotel staff to escort the gentleman off the premises. But Mr. Tron, I just want to say this is the most discourteous and unprofessional act by an attorney I have ever encountered, that you would summon a photographer to harass the witness who has appeared for a deposition in a litigated case. Lanny and I had nothing to do with the reporter being there. Lanny fired back. Let me just advise counsel that there is no need for a subpoena. He is an employee. You agree to produce him. I appreciate that we have taken the deposition. The reporters can do what the reporters want to do. I can't control a reporter, Miss Simon, and you're quite aware of that. There are people who have the right to do whatever they want to do. And if you want to choose to take a picture of Mr. Lamarcky in public, I can't prevent them from doing that. Deputy Attorney General Kane Simon stated, the deposition is terminated. Lanny shouted back, no, it's not done, and we are not off the record. Miss Kane Simon stormed out of the room, leaving Lamarcky sitting in his chair all alone. The door was wide open. A reporter entered the room and asked Mr. Lamarcky if he could take a picture of him. Mr. Lamarcky jumped out of his chair and began to swing his cane toward the reporter's camera, coming close to striking him in the face. The reporter took several pictures of him while Lamarcky made his way to the door. When Deputy Attorney General Kane Simon entered the room, she was extremely agitated. She told us that the deposition with Lamarcky was terminated and that she would not produce him again. Lanny said, "I am not finished with Mr. Lamarcky, and we are not done with this deposition." Mr. Lamarcky stormed out of the room, trying to balance on the king. Lanny went to Judge Fields to inform him that Deputy Attorney General stopped our scheduled deposition with Lamarcky. Judge Fields ordered Deputy Attorney General Kane Simon to produce Mr. Lamarcky for more deposition testimony. Mary Kane Simon advised Judge Fields that she could not produce Mr. Lamarcky for next week's deposition because she stated Mr. Lamarcky left the country of France and did not know how to contact him. Subsequently, Mr. Lamarcky never showed for the continuance of his testimony in our scheduled deposition. Lanny and I later found out that Lamarcky returned back to the United States after the Department of Corrections settled my case. The next day, the photograph of Lamarcky was in the newspaper. The article titled, "Raising Cain. Former prison warden tries to smite Persky reporter." According to Terry Frank, an attorney with Californians Aware, a nonprofit organization that works to strengthen open government laws, said that the reporter was completely within his rights to go to the hotel and attempt to interview subjects and take pictures. Frank explained that a hotel was a public place. Although a reporter may have no right to barge into a deposition while it is in session, the hallway outside the conference room was not much different from its public sidewalk. Frank finished with, "The problem is, when the Deputy Attorney General takes it upon herself to declare a reporter a nuisance, what she really means is that she doesn't want him to cover the story."